Two people decide to become data engineers in the exact same week. They take the same courses. They have the same amount of free time in the evenings. They start from the same place, knowing basically nothing. A year later, one of them already hired, the other one is still studying and will still be studying a year after that. I have watched this exact thing happen too many times now to write it off as luck or talent, or one of them just being smarter. It isn't any of those things at all. There is a specific, identifiable difference between the person who makes it and the person who stays stuck. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, because this might genuinely be the most useful idea in this entire playlist. And it costs you nothing but a shift in how you think. Here is the difference. As plainly as I can put it, most beginners learn like a consumer, and a small number learn like a builder. Everything comes down to which one you are. Let me describe the consumer first, because it's probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortably familiar, and that's okay. A consumer watches the course. They take beautiful color-coded notes. They finish video after video, module after module. They feel a genuine sense of progress with every lecture they complete. And not only that, they collect an enormous amount of knowledge, and then they never actually use any of it. They finish one course and immediately start looking for the next one, because the next course feels like the responsible thing to do. That feeling of progress, that's the trap. It's comfortable, it's safe, it feels productive, and it quietly goes absolutely nowhere. Now, here is the builder who does something that feels much scarier and much less comfortable. A builder learns the absolute minimum they need to attempt something real. Then they go and build that thing badly. Then and only then they learn the next piece, because the build itself demands it. Now, do you see the difference in direction there? It's everything. A consumer learns so that someday in the future they will be ready to build. The build is always just over the horizon, always after the next course. A builder builds first, right now, while feeling unready, and lets the actual building tell them what they need to learn next. One person learns in order to eventually do, the other person does in order to learn. Opposite directions, and they lead to completely dramatically different outcomes over a few months or a year. And I need you to hear this part clearly, because it's the mechanism underneath all of it. When you learn as a builder, the learning actually sticks permanently because it's attached to a real problem you were trying to solve. You learn about scheduling because your pipeline needed to run every morning and you were tired of doing it by hand. You will never forget that lesson because you earned it. But when you learn as a consumer in the abstract with no problem attached, it evaporates within a week. You have already experienced this yourself. You have watched a tutorial, right? Nodded along, felt like you understood it completely, and then a week later you couldn't reproduce a single line of it from your memory. The problem is not you or your memory. That's not a you problem, right? That's just how learning without building works. And now I have to say the bigger, more uncomfortable thing out loud, because this is exactly the moment in the playlist or in the series where it belongs. It follows directly from everything I just told you. The traditional route into a new career, the multi-year university degree, or enrolling in some long, expensive course program to switch fields is the ultimate consumer trap. It is the consumer path, formalized, stretched out over years, and handed a certificate at the end to make it feel official. Now, please hear me correctly here. I'm not telling you that education is worthless or that nobody should ever go to university. What I'm telling you is that for what you specifically are trying to do, switch careers and become genuinely job ready in a reasonable amount of time, that path is deeply mismatched. And I want you to think about it really honestly with me for a moment. You would spend 2, 3, sometimes 4 years and a very large amount of money. And by the time you finally graduate, a a good chunk of specific tools you studied have already moved on or been replaced, because this field changes faster than any university curriculum can possibly keep up with. The things that felt current when you enrolled is quietly stale by the time you walk across that stage. And then there is the part that nobody warns a career switcher about. When you finally walk into the real job, you discover that the day-to-day work barely resembles what you were taught in that classroom. So you still need months of real hands-on practice on real current tools before anyone in the industry takes you seriously. Which means you paid years of your life and mountain of money arrive at the exact starting line you could have begun from on day one. The paper says you studied. It does not say you can build. And I promise you, employers in this field can tell the difference between those two things in about 5 minutes. So let's bring it all together, because this is why the mindset genuinely beats any tool, any course, and yes, any degree. Employers don't hire your knowledge. They cannot even see your knowledge, right? What they hire is evidence. Evidence that you can actually build the thing they need built. And here is the beautiful part. A builder generates that evidence automatically as a natural side effect of how they learn. Every ugly project, every broken pipeline they fixed, every real thing they made, that's all a proof stacking up over time without them even trying. Meanwhile, the consumer finishes 10 courses or an entire degree with nothing tangible to show a single employer, and then genuinely wonders why nobody is calling them back for interviews. Here is the blunt version, the one I want you to write down somewhere. The job market does not reward what you studied. It rewards what you have built. That's the whole game. That's the gate. And almost nobody tells beginners this, because a lot of education industry is built on you believing the opposite. But the best part about this video, it's a good news for you, because you can flip this today, right now, this evening. You don't need to enroll in anything or wait for new terms to start or get anyone permission, certificate, promotion, etc. You just pick something tiny and you build it before you feel ready. That single change in habit building instead of only consuming is worth more than your next 3 courses combined. Honestly, it's worth more than most of a degree, because the one thing the degree was supposed to give you and usually doesn't, prove that you can actually do the work. So now you have got it. The builder's mindset. You understand that you have to build first and let the building drive the learning, right? Which lands you immediately on a very fair and a very practical question. Build what exactly? Where do you even start? And what should the first thing actually be? And here is the problem. You genuinely cannot answer that question until you can clearly see what data engineering actually is. Not the buzzword that you find online in most of job descriptions, the real plain English version, because most people are trying to break into this field can't even describe the job they want in a single clear statement. And that's exactly why they end up building the wrong things and applying for the wrong roles. In the next video, I'm going to completely simplify this entire field for you in plain English. By the time it's finished, you will genuinely understand what a data engineer does better than most people who already work alongside them. And that clarity is the thing that makes every single step after it finally click into place. So next up, what data engineering actually is. The description that finally makes the whole field make sense. Watch that one now while this mindset is fresh. And if this video resonates with you and you felt I'm talking to you, and you know you are a consumer who needs to become a builder and you want someone to hold you accountable to actually building instead of just watching, the free call link is right below whenever you are ready. Next, what data engineering actually is.